Hello students, I Shakti Kumar, lecture chemistry, presently posted at Government SRML Model Higher Secondary School Jammu. Today going to start a topic on Rutherford's alpha ray scattering experiment. It's a topic from class 11th, unit 2nd, that is structure of atom. This is lecture 2nd on this topic. So let's start the topic. Rutherford's alpha ray scattering experiment. Rutherford performed alpha ray scattering experiment in order to know the position of two fundamental particles in an atom, that is electrons and protons. And Rutherford in 1911 performed this experiment. Now, the alpha ray scattering experiment consists of this sort of apparatus. This apparatus consists of a lead box. This is a lead box in which radioactive material, radium, was placed, and the alpha rays from the radium pass through a fine slit. This is a fine slit. After passing through the fine slit, these rays strike in the spherical screen, which contains a thin gold foil. When these rays passed after passing through the thin gold foil and strike the spherical screen, which was coated with zinc sulfide, it created sparks on the screen. So, alpha particles needed for this purpose obtained from radioactive element, that is radium, and in this experiment radium was enclosed in a lead box, and alpha rays after passing through the slit strike the thin foil of gold. Alpha particles scattered after striking thin foil of gold and made to fall on the circular screen coated with zinc sulfide, where these rays produced sparks or scintillations, where they produced flashes of light on the screen. So the whole process was this. So if we retrace the diagram, this is a lead box where radium was kept, and from this radium the alpha rays which were scattered passed through a fine slit, and after passing through this slit, these rays passed through a thin foil of gold, which was enclosed in a circular screen. This foil was enclosed in a circular screen, and when those rays were passing from this thin foil and striking at the circular screen, which was coated with zinc sulfide, these rays were producing sparks over there. So this was the whole process of alpha ray scattering experiment. Now, the observations and conclusions which were made from this experiment were as follows. The first, most of the alpha particles, that is 99% particle, pass through the gold foil undeflected. That means most of the space inside the atom is empty, as they did not come across any obstruction. So the alpha particles, most of the alpha particles passed undeflected. So second part is some alpha particles were deflected by small angles. What was the reason for this? Why some particles were deflected by a small angle? The reason for this is that atoms contain the charge, and due to the charge on the atom, those alpha particles were deflected by small angles. And the third is very few alpha particles, that is 1 out of 20,000, suffered the major deflections, that is more than 90%, like this. So, reason for this, the whole of the charge of an atom is concentrated in small volume called nucleus. So, all the mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus. So let's try to understand it by retracing the above image. This is the central part of the atom, and this is the outer part of the atom. Now, the first point, that most of the alpha particles pass through it undeflected, because most of the space was empty, and very few particles deflected by small angles like this, or we can say small angles like this, and very few out of 1 out of 20,000 which were deflected by angle greater than 90 degree. And this was the whole process and observations and conclusion from this Rutherford's experiment. So let's proceed on. The Rutherford's alpha ray scattering experiment. The point to be noted is this, that Rutherford regarded heavy and positively charged portion inside the atom as nucleus. This portion, heavy and positively charged portion as the nucleus, and the extranuclear portion is the space around the nucleus where electrons revolve. And this is the extranuclear portion where electrons revolve around the nucleus. Here in the extranuclear portion, electrons revolve around the nucleus. So, atoms contain electrons and protons. It was observed, and all positive charge of an atom is concentrated in small region due to positively charged proton is called nucleus. And the size of nucleus is very small as compared to the size of an atom. The extranuclear portion is the space around the nucleus where electrons revolve around the nucleus. So radius of nucleus is 10 raised to the power minus 15, whereas the radius of atom is 10 raised to the power minus 10 meter. So there is a huge difference. If we consider the nucleus as a footwall, then the extranuclear portion can be the footwall ground, and this much was the difference between atom and its nucleus. So the electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular paths at a very high speed. Now let's talk about the drawbacks of Rutherford's model. Now, according to Maxwell, charged particles in motion under influence of another charged particle will emit energy in the form of radiations. मैक्सवेल ने कहा कि अगर एक चार्ज पार्टिकल है, वो दूसरे चार्ज पार्टिकल की प्रेजेंस में मूव करता है, तो वो क्या करेगा? एनर्जी रेडिएट करेगा. Like here is the nucleus and electron is revolving around the nucleus. Electron is revolving around the nucleus, and if it radiates its energy, then it will lose its energy and finally it will collapse in the nucleus. Now the second point, since an electron is a charged particle, no doubt electron is a charged particle moving around the nucleus, it must emit energy continuously, and if it does, then it cannot maintain the radius of its path, and it will ultimately fall into the nucleus following a spiral path. Now let's see what happens when electron emits energy in presence of another charged particle. So focus on this electron. When this electron emits energy, what happened? It moves and moves in spiral path and reaches over here, and here it also emits energy. What happens? It again moves in the spiral path, reaches over here, again loses energy, and finally what happened? It collapses into the nucleus itself, and that's all. So Rutherford model cannot explain the discontinuous nature of hydrogen spectrum or atomic spectrum. So these were the drawbacks of. Now the second topic is Bohr's model of atom. It's a topic from 11th class chemistry, unit 2nd, that is structure of atom. Let's start the topic. Bohr's model of atom. Niels Bohr in 1913 proposed a theory that was a modified Rutherford's model of atom with the help of quantum theory of revisions. The main postulates of Bohr theory are: atom consists of a positively charged nucleus in the center, and electrons move around positively charged nucleus in certain fixed orbits without radiating energy, and electrons move around the nucleus in certain fixed orbits, and while moving they don't radiate energy. So each fixed orbit or energy level is associated with definite amount of energy. हर लेवल की अपनी एक एनर्जी है, and energy associated with different energy levels increases with increasing distance from the nucleus are designated by 1, 2, 3. पहले तो हर एनर्जी, हर लेवल की एक डेफिनेट एनर्जी है, और दूसरा जैसे जैसे एनर्जी लेवल्स न्यूक्लियस के परे चलते जाते हैं, आगे दूर चलते जाते हैं, उनकी एनर्जी जो है वो इंक्रीज़ होती जाती है, और इन एनर्जी लेवल्स को डेजिग्नेट किया गया है नंबर से, जैसे 1, 2, 3 जो न्यूक्लियस के पास होगा उसका नंबर 1, और जैसे जैसे आगे चलते हैं 2, 3, 4, या फिर के न्यूक्लियस के पास ऐसे ऐसे LMN। तो सबसे एनर्जी कम किसकी है? 1 की, और सबसे ज़्यादा किसके पास है? 4 के पास। ऐसे ही सबसे एनर्जी कम के पास है, और सबसे ज़्यादा एनर्जी जो है वो N के पास है। So energy associated with an energy level is given by following equation: En equal to 2 pi square z square e raised to power 4 m upon n square h square, where z is atomic mass and m is the mass, e is the charge, n is the number of the orbit, and h is the Planck's constant. So if we use this equation for hydrogen atom, हाइड्रोजन एटम के लिए ये इक्वेशन यूज़ करेंगे जिसका एटॉमिक मास जो है 1 है, तो क्या रिज़ल्ट आएगा? जब हम सारे वैल्यूज़ जब इसमें भर देंगे तो En की वैल्यू आएगी En इज इक्वल टू -1312 अपॉन n स्क्वायर। किलोजूल पर मोल फॉर हाइड्रोजन एटम। तो ये जो इक्वेशन है ये हमारी हाइड्रोजन एटम के लिए है, ये वैल्यू जो है। सो नेक्स्ट postulate is only those orbitals are permitted in which angular momentum, that is mvr of electron, is whole number multiple of h upon 2 pi। mvr क्या होना चाहिए? इक्वल टू होल नंबर मल्टीपल, दैट इज n इज ए होल नंबर मल्टीपल ऑफ h अपॉन 2 पाई। h अपॉन 2 पाई को किससे मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे? होल नंबर से। तो ओनली दोज ऑर्बिटल्स आर परमिटेड जिनका एंगुलर मोमेंटम जो है वो ये रहेगा। सो n क्या है? यहाँ पे n है 1 2 3 अप टू n, h प्लैंक्स कांस्टेंट, m मास, v is the tangential velocity with respect to radius r। तो v क्या है? टेंजेंशियल वेलोसिटी है, और विद रिस्पेक्ट टू किसकी टेंजेंशियल वेलोसिटी है? जिसका रेडियस r है। So long electron revolve in a particular orbit, it can neither emit or nor absorb energy। जब तक एक इलेक्ट्रॉन एक पर्टिकुलर ऑर्बिट में घूमता रहेगा वो ना तो एनर्जी इमिट करेगा और ना ही एनर्जी एब्जॉर्ब करेगा। दैट मीन्स वो अपने ऑर्बिट में घूमता रहेगा। Energy cannot last continuously, and electron keep on moving in a particular energy level without losing energy। तो एनर्जी जो है वो कांट बी लॉस्ट कंटिन्यूसली जो एनर्जी का लॉस नहीं हो रहा है जब वो इलेक्ट्रॉन अपने ऑर्बिट में घूम रहा है। लेकिन ऑन गेटिंग एनर्जी फ्रॉम एक्सटर्नल सोर्स, इलेक्ट्रॉन जंप्स फ्रॉम लोअर एनर्जी लेवल टू हायर एनर्जी लेवल। जैसे ही उसको कहीं बाहर से एनर्जी मिलेगी तो वो लोअर एनर्जी लेवल से हाई एनर्जी लेवल पे जंप कर जाएगा, और उस स्टेट को एक्साइटेड स्टेट कहते हैं। जब कोई इलेक्ट्रॉन एनर्जी गेन करके लोअर एनर्जी लेवल से हायर एनर्जी स्टेट पे जंप कर जाए तो वो क्या कहते हैं? उसको स्टेट को एक्साइटेड स्टेट। लेकिन ये एक अनस्टेबल स्टेट है इलेक्ट्रॉन की, और इलेक्ट्रॉन क्या करता है? जंप्स डाउन इमीडिएटली आफ्टर लूजिंग द एनर्जी। जैसे ही इलेक्ट्रॉन एनर्जी लूज करता है तो वापस अपनी इनिशियल स्टेट प्रीवियस स्टेट में आ जाता है। Now the energy is emitted or absorbed discontinuously in the form of quanta or small packets। अब जो एनर्जी इमिट होती है या एब्जॉर्ब होती है वो क्वांटा की स्मॉल पैकेट्स की शेप में होती है। लोअर टू हाई एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ एनर्जी टेक्स प्लेस लाइक दिस। ये देखो यहाँ से E1 से E2 ये एनर्जी गेन कर रहा है और लोअर से हायर एनर्जी स्टेट पे जा रहा है। ऐसे ही हायर टू लोअर लेवल ऑफ एनर्जी कब होती है? जैसे वो एनर्जी लूज करता है। अब ये एनर्जी लूज कर रहा है और E2 से E1 स्टेट में वापस आ रहा है। तो चेंज इन एनर्जी उसको बोलते हैं डेल्टा E इक्वल टू E2 माइनस E1। द फेलियर ऑफ बोर्स मॉडल। अब फेलियर क्यों हुआ बोर्स के मॉडल का? तो अकॉर्डिंग टू बोर्स मॉडल इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आर मूविंग इन फिक्स सर्कुलर पाथ्स। ठीक है जी, बोर ने कहा कि इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है वो फिक्स्ड सर्कुलर पाथ्स में घूम रहे हैं, एंड path can be defined only if velocity and position of electrons are known exactly at same time, which contradicts Heisenberg's principle। तो अब जैसे बोर ने कहा कि इलेक्ट्रॉन फिक्स्ड ऑर्बिट्स में पाथ्स में घूम रहे हैं, तो फिक्स्ड पाथ में तभी कोई चीज़ घूम सकती है जब उसकी वेलोसिटी और पोजीशन जो है वो वेल डिफाइंड हो। ठीक है, एग्जैक्टली नोन हो। तो इस वजह से वो हाइजेनबर्ग अनसर्टेनिटी प्रिंसिपल को क्या करता है? कंट्राडिक्ट करता है। ये हम नेक्स्ट टॉपिक में पढ़ेंगे। और सिमिलरली बोर्स मॉडल डज नॉट टेक वेव नेचर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन इनटू कंसीडर। उसने जो इलेक्ट्रॉन की वेव नेचर है उसको भी कंसीडर नहीं किया। And finally, thus, in the light of Heisenberg uncertainty principle and de Broglie concepts of dual nature of matter, that is, wave nature as well as particle nature of matter, Bohr's model of atom became unacceptable. इस कारण जो है बोर्स का मॉडल जो है वो अनएक्सेप्टेबल हो गया. थैंक्स.